I grew up in a Christian family with really loving parents who modelled to me, just what it looked like to have a loving heart for helping children. And then I went on and trained to be a teacher. Even when I was in the classroom, my heart always went out to those children who needed extra help, whether it was academically or even emotionally. And I would see students who had lost a parent whether it was through family breakdown or death, and I would come home and say to my husband, I just wish that there was more that I could do.
Well, after I finished school, I went into business. I actually worked in a family business with mum and dad for about 16 years. And I really believe the purpose of business is to be able to help other people. And so we got involved. We funded things like kids camps. And then personally, for my wife and I, we really wanted to do more. So we became foster carers. And so for about 5 years, we had different children come into our family and be a part of our home. Life in Australia was really good. We absolutely had no plan to leave. But then we heard about this thing called child trafficking, and life completely changed. I read statistics that were like there was 40.3 million people in slavery today, and a quarter of those were children.
And to be honest, to begin with, I was in absolute disbelief, because by then we had 3 young children of our own, and I couldn't imagine something so terrible ever happening to them. So one night we sat on our brand new couch in our recently renovated home, and we watched this video about Zoe's work rescuing children in Thailand. And my husband and I, we just wept and said, we have to go.
And within 12 months of hearing about this place that was helping kids, we packed up and we moved to northern Thailand to help Zoe to rescue and restore kids' lives.
We've known David and Andrea Cross for, long time. In 2016, we came to Thailand to help with some tech stuff. My husband's into tech, and I sat and talked with David. Just chitty chat, and then it turned to bookkeeping and accounting, and I was like, oh, I can actually help.
It was not long after moving to Thailand that I read a report that said when it came to child sex tourism, which is what they called it, that Australians were the #1 exploiter of children in Thailand. And I just thought, we have to do more.
I think I've always considered myself to be a global citizen, growing up in New Zealand and travelling to Australia to visit family, and I've had the opportunity to travel around the world, which has been really great. And from a young age, I've always been justice-minded as well. So when I was in high school and someone from ZOE shared at my school, and I learnt about this relationship that Australia had, I realised that this was an issue that was personal to me, being someone who lives in Australia. So I wanted to learn as much as I could about it. And that's when this passion really started. I went to uni and started learning more about international development and these global relationships that occur. Some of the children in Thailand were actually worse off for this relationship. Australians could travel to Thailand and engage in practices that they wouldn't back home. But that child in Thailand had to deal with the consequences, and so did their community and their nation as a whole.
I believe that every human, every person in this world has a right for freedom. The first time I knew about human trafficking, it seemed like a really big issue and a serious issue. Not a lot of people knew about it. I felt like it's somewhere I could contribute my skills and my knowledge.
We started developing curriculums and educational resources to equip these next generations and emerging generations about what's happening in the world and what we can do as Australians to influence people's lives all over the world.
I feel really privileged to be able to share in schools here in Australia. And I was in that position 10 years ago when someone came and shared about this with me and told me that I could actually play a different part in this narrative. So I'm really passionate about young people knowing that they too can have a positive impact.
So we moved to Thailand in January 2010, and we spent 11.5 years there. We raised our own children there, and we were just able to use the skills that we had to help Zoe in Thailand, in Australia and globally. In 2021, we moved back to Australia, and I really am so excited to see what we can do to help out in this space in Australia, to continue to help with prevention, to continue to help with raising awareness, but also just to see how we can help in the restoration space here.
Child trafficking and human trafficking affects every single continent on this earth. We continue to see Australians be part of this online community that are actually exploiting children online, so sitting at their computers and facilitating abuse that's happening overseas. But we've also seen that Australians can be part of the solution to actually get involved and really start to change kids' lives. Because if there's one child right now that's trapped in slavery, that is one too many. So we will not stop until every person is reached and every child is rescued.